Hi, this is Bill from AEC Workbench. Yes, that's the name of the YouTube channel you are watching. If you didn't know it was AEC Workbench, well, then you need to start subscribing to AEC Workbench because I'm going to have a lot more videos on different things like Bluebeam, for example, like this video you're watching now, and maybe some programming videos and things like that. So here we go. This is the first video in Bluebeam. I'm assuming you have Bluebeam installed. I'm assuming that you know how to open it up and get it to this point. If you do, then you're in good shape. If you don't, then sorry about that. All right, here is review 2020. Doesn't look like much because they've cleaned up the interface from 2017 and before. Looks a little bit different. Takes a little bit of getting used to as well. But let's go through the interface, what it is, and where to find things. The first thing you'll want to do in the user interface is go through the menus here. What are these menus and what do they do? Well, the pull down menus, so I've got review, that's the menu for review. Preferences are there, so that's program preferences. This is all the stuff about the program itself. File is dealing with files, opening, closing. Edit is dealing with editing the content of your document. And we'll explain what content versus markups are in a moment. View changes the view, obviously, zooming in, zooming out, things like that. Turning on the grid, turning off the grid. There's how you can turn on that full screen crosshair if you wanted a full screen crosshair. Document. These are all the things regarding your document that you're currently working in. So these apply to all of the different pages in your document. This is where you would go and change the color of things, where you'd say, okay, I want to flatten the whole document, where you'd replace pages and all that other stuff. That is in the document menu. The batch menu is if I want to apply those same kind of things that document does, but I want to apply it to a batch of documents, a whole bunch of PDF files. That's what batch does. Tools, that's where all of our markups live. Window changes the user interface a little bit, makes it full screen, presentation mode, things like that, and help is help. When I started Bluebeam, this was the first time that the menu structure really started to make sense as far as for Windows goes, Windows applications. So the document, those are just commands that go to the document. Batch, lots of files. Tools, markups. View, changing the way my screen looked. Once that switch kicked on for me, it started to make sense where all of the different commands were, and I wasn't looking for a command. I would know exactly where it was in the pull down. I knew if I wanted to rotate the document, oh, I want to fix the document. I want to put a markup on. Oh, that's under tools. Okay, so those are the menus. So if I do a new PDF now and say, okay, now it's going to start up the document and I have this toolbar up here below the menu bar. The toolbar changes depending on what you're doing. So if I draw in like a line, for example, you'll see that that toolbar up here changed. This is like the old properties toolbar. And in fact, it is a properties toolbar, but it's a concise version of it, if you will. So this is just things that deal with the line. And these are the most common things that you may change about the line. The color, the thick or the line style, how thick it is. Is there going to be a leader at the end or the beginning? Things like that. If I wanted to see the full properties, I would go right here to this guy right here. And this is called a panel. And this is the properties panel. And these are all of the properties regarding that line that I am about to draw. I talked about that crosshair before. That was under view, wasn't it? Yeah, because I want to change the way the screen looks. So full screen crosshair. Look at that. I get a full screen crosshair just like I did in AutoCAD. You'll find that if you're remote desktoping, the full screen crosshair will probably get a little slow on you. So that's why you can turn that off and on. Getting back to what this is a toolbar that changes. It's the quick toolbar that changes depending on what command you use. So if I did a cloud, for example, see the cloud changed. It changed this. If I click on text, it's it's going to be even different. See, all of these things change, what font you want to use, things like that. And my big properties on the side here changed too. If I want to close that, I move till that blue line pops up, click it, and then the blue line goes away. If I want my panels to come back out, I click on the blue line, and out comes the panels again. So let's look at the panels. What do we have? Well, we have properties. A property looks like this because I'm looking at the properties of the document right now. Let's start at the first one, file access. File access, these are the recent files that you have used inside of Bluebeam. So this is where you find that stuff. What does this guy do here? By date. Doing that, I can change the sort order. So right now it's being sorted by date. I can sort by folder, most access. You can read that just as well as I can. The next one is the thumbnails. Now the thumbnails isn't very cool because this document doesn't have much stuff in it. So let's open up a new document. So there's a new document. If I go to thumbnails, you can see there's all my thumbnails for this document that I have open that has 16 pages in it. I can drag this panel out, make it larger or smaller. If I make it larger, I can see more thumbnails. Or I can use this guy way down here, and I can make these thumbnails larger if I wanted to make them larger or smaller to see more or less thumbnails or more of the thumbnail if I wanted to do that. The other things you can do on the thumbnails is these are all of the commands you can do to the thumbnails. This is the document menu. Okay? Pretty much the document menu, isn't it? You can right click and bring up the same menu. Insert blank pages, all that kind of stuff. Whatever you need to do to your documents, you can do that. If I wanted to make some changes to just a few documents, I could click on the first one, hold the shift key, pick on the fifth one, and it'll pick the first through the fifth. So it'll pick those 5 documents. So I can right click on one of those selected documents, and whatever I do here, it is going to apply to those selected 5 documents. If I made a mistake and I didn't want it to apply to those 5 documents, I can hit this down arrow and tell it what I want to do, even odd pages, all the pages. You can change that selection at any time. What else we got here? We have bookmarks. Don't have any bookmarks on here, but bookmarks allow you to place a bookmark on a sheet, and then the bookmarks would appear here. We'll show you how to do that in another video. So subscribe, all that other happy stuff in order to make sure you get notified when that video comes out. Layers. What the heck are layers? Layers are like the old AutoCAD days. If you ever used AutoCAD, where you could draw multiple things on different layers so you can turn things off and on. You can do the same thing inside of Bluebeam. You could put different markups on different layers. So if you got a little OCD thing going on, you can split out the layers by people. You can split out the layers by disciplines. Split out the layers by really anything you want those layers to be. Tool chest. Tool chests are where all of your tools live. Yeah, they live over here too. These are the markup tools. But these tools, these are customized markup tools. And that's what's in your tool chest. We'll talk about that in a different video as well. So look out for that video. Links. Links allow you to link a spot on your document to another document or another spot. That's what links do. We'll have a video on that as well. This is spaces. Spaces are really cool. This allows you to group your markups by an area or a space in the building. So I could create a space by floor. I could create a space by department and things like that. I could create a space for each room in the building as well. So when I go and put markups on there, I can separate my markups by space or by room. This allows you to organize your markups. File properties, we talked about that. Measuring command, this is where we can go in and calibrate, and there's all our different measuring commands. Forms, if you have the extreme version of Bluebeam, you will have the ability to create forms, and this is where you create the forms. You click on these little guys here and it makes the form. Signatures, this allows you to create digital signatures. Flags, flags are, you know, those plastic post-it note flags that you peel off and stick on a piece in a book or something, and they stick out of the book a little bit so you can find that spot again. That's what flags are. Sets allow you to create a multi-page PDF out of multiple PDF files. So instead of combining all the files all into one document, I can use sets, and it looks like it's one document, but they're individual files. That's really handy when you have a living document, because I can replace just sheets in that document. I don't have to replace them all, and it allows multiple people to modify the document set at the same time. All right, the next one is search. So let's go to the next page here and see if we can have it search for something. There's lots of stuff on this page, but let's find all of the toilets. So search gives us the ability to either search for text, or we can do a visual search, and that's how I can find all the toilets. So I will get a rectangle, and I will get a rectangle that looks toilety. And then I will go ahead and say I want to search just the current page, and then I'll search. That way it doesn't take forever and a day to do the search. It's much faster that way. The magic of video will speed it up even more. And there it found all of the toilets. So you can click on those and see all of the great toilets that it found in this document. Probably wondering, how am I navigating this document so quickly and so easily without using scroll bars? Well, I'm using the mouse. And if it works just like Revit does. When the document is 11 by 17 or greater, the wheel on the mouse will zoom out and in. If I hold the wheel down, I can pan the screen. If your document is smaller than 11 by 17, the wheel will do a scroll, and then you can hold the control key down, and it will do the opposite of what it is of the scroll. So if you are in an 8.5 by 11 and want it to zoom, you hold the control key down and use your wheel, and it will zoom in and out. If you are in a 42 by 30 or 30 by 42 like this one, if I hold the control key, it changes to scroll. That's a quickie little shortcut key that's fun to use. But anyway, back to search. There's the search. It found all of the great toilets. I can click on that. What can I do if I select them all? I can create a hyperlink on them. I can highlight them. Let's highlight them and see what happens. And it highlights all of the toilets in the drawing. Isn't that cool? It's really cool. See that? Okay. Double click the wheel, it zooms, extends. Go back to our toolbar. So the next thing we have down here, these are our different zoom commands or view commands. You can see the ones I use the most down here are these arrows to go to different pages, or I'll type in the page I want. I'll hit the V key, and that'll change me to the select mode. That's a good way just to get out of what you're doing, the V as in Victor key. Or V as in select. I don't know why it's V as in select, but that's what they did. And those are all of those. You can turn on more tools if you want by going to Tools, Toolbars, a status bar. And that's a good thing to turn on. It's good to turn on the status bar. I know it takes up some space, but it's okay. It's worth it. The status bar, you can turn off and on the grid. So if you want a grid, you can turn on a grid if you want. The different snap options, snap to content or markups. Now, what's the difference between a content and a markup? It's pretty easy. The part of the PDF that was created by the application, in this case Revit, that's the content. I can't do anything with the content without using some content editing tools. The part that I've highlighted here, the markups, those are markups, and the different snaps allow me to snap to either content or snap to a markup. Now, why the heck would I want to snap to a content? Well, if I turn on snap to content and draw a line, I can draw a line from that end to that end. I can have a nice line from endpoint to endpoint, and I can use Review as a drawing tool. With it selected there, I'm going to hit the delete key on the keyboard to get rid of it. I can hit escape to get out of whatever is selected as well. So that content snap is pretty nifty. This other one is pretty nifty as well. This is reuse markup tool. If you're going to pick up anything from this video, it's going to be that. So the reuse markup tool allows me to draw a cloud, and then I can draw another cloud, and then I can draw another cloud, draw another cloud, and another one. So you can draw clouds and clouds and clouds and clouds all you want. It reuses the markup. It's like a repeat for the markup. Turn that off. So that right there is worth the price of admission just to have this turned on. Synchronized view, that will come into play when we start doing compares, and that's in the next video. And then what scale is set for your measuring tools. Over here we have our toolbars here on the right in this area. The toolbars are all of our markup tools, or any other tools. If you right click on where a toolbar is not, you can see all the different toolbars. The ones I use obviously are advanced because I like to do advanced things. So I will drag that over to here. And the other one I like is advanced text. And that one, I don't have any room on here, so I will leave it where, well, I'm going to move it over this way so that all my tools are in the right spot. Now, what the heck are those things? Well, we're going to talk about that in the third video. That's when we talk about markups. This video is becoming quite long as it is. What else is in here? Oh, the most important thing. I say that a lot, don't I? So there's a lot of important things. The part that makes review is the markup list. You can find the markup list. It's hidden. It's right here. You got to move your mouse down to that blue line pops up. Click it, and there's the markup list. You can drag your markup list to see it. Now what it is it's showing me all of the different markups that are in this drawing already. And it's all of the markups. So I can use this. I can see who created the markup, when they created the markup, what kind of markup it is, any comments that are in the markup. So you can click on a markup, and you can go to the properties of the markup, and you can put in a comment here. And now I should have a comment. Yep, I clicked up here to get into a different spot right there. I can even change its name from cloud to something else. Change the subject of it. I can change its color and all these other properties. But the markup tool is very, very useful. You can select multiple markups and delete them if you want. When you export or you print a AutoCAD drawing using the Bluebeam PDF, it will create a bunch of markups for the text. You could select all those markups, go up to the markup, right click and say flatten, and it will move the markup to the content layer. Or you can delete them. You can do all sorts of nifty things with them. You can also, from the markup list, you can click right here where it says markup list, and you can go to markups and you can export your markups to a file so that you can import your markups into the later version of the file. You can also just drag and drop your PDF right here on the markup list, and it will import all of the markups from that PDF. It's pretty nifty. You can turn on different columns. These are all the different columns that you can turn on, so all the different data about those markups are all right here. There is a quick introduction to the Bluebeam Revu interface. I hope you found that useful. It's going to help you when we get into the nitty-gritty of the next videos. The next video is going to be talking about comparing documents. So we'll see you in that video. Well, I guess I won't see you because I'm recording. You'll see my screen in the next video.